The following is a feature presentation of our nation's sports show. The NBA's postseason for 2026 is already off to a hot start. 6 out of the 8 series were competitive. 3 out of the 8 series were decided by a decisive winner-take-all. Game 7. Tonight we recap a historic blowout in the ages by the Knicks on the road against Atlanta. After 44 years, the drought is over as Philadelphia got sweet revenge on their rivals, the Celtics. Tonight we also begin our coverage of the Eastern and Western Conference semifinals matchups. 8 teams remain, but only 4 will advance to the conference finals. It's showtime.
Good up to the court, talking all that is sport, breaking down the latest news, scores, and more. Welcome to our Nation Sports Show.
Yeah! I am back. Unfortunately, for all of you people who hate me, screw you, I'm back. No, I'm kidding. What's going on, everybody? It is Tuesday. You know what that means. It is our Nation Sports Show, and we are live. I am Ezra Vickery. We thank you guys for joining us today, as always. We have an action-packed show for you today, and got a lot to talk about with the NBA Finals, let me tell you. And the NBA playoffs, excuse me. What a time it's been. Several Game 7s. It's insane. You know, it's been a crazy, crazy series. A lot of blowouts, though, in certain games to end these series. And we're going to get into all of that. We're going to get into other news as we come along with it. Outside of that, right now, let me introduce the only person I have with me right now, and that is my heavy metal brother from North Kakalaki. I have no fun joke today, so Stephen Wyand, take it away. What's going on, my dude? How you doing?
I'm doing good. Yeah, we are here. We are live. We are here to talk about a lot of sports taking place. The NBA postseason is hot and heavy and rocking and rolling. And yeah, the semifinals are underway as of last night. And the other 2 games get underway tonight as well. And man, what a great game last night between San Antonio and Minnesota last night. And as we always say when it comes to the game of basketball, it is all a game of runs. And yeah, what a crazy game it was last night. And also, speaking of crazy, we're going to get to this as well. The historic beatdown by the Knicks on Atlanta. Oh, that is going to be etched into Hawks fans for a long time coming. Like, just unreal. Unreal. So with that being said, let's do this.
Yeah, we got a fair amount to get into. We're going to make this as last as humanly possible. Depending on if we get other people on to join us, we'll see what happens. But tonight, main focus is going to be the NBA Finals, but we got to talk about some news that broke this week in the world of the NFL. And that is that the very smart, very intelligent, very oriented Baltimore Ravens, who, by the way, this season fucked up a trade to get Max Crosby because he failed his physical, has decided to sign a quarterback a quarterback, mind you, who is the epitome of what Johnny Football was at college and in the NFL. Very dangerous, self-destructive, and unbelievably immature. That is Diego Pavia of Vanderbilt. He went undrafted through the NFL draft, and now Baltimore signed him without even making him try out at first. Like,
See, that's the
opinion,
epitome of Baltimore.
in my opinion, I say, what is this franchise doing? First, they lose out on that trade to get Crosby, which would have, just absolutely they made the defense unstoppable. And don't get me wrong, they have Trey Hendrickson now, which is, amazing. Don't get me wrong, it's good. Their defense is still, killer. But you sign this quarterback, has been an absolute problem. He's had multiple teams, multiple legends and executives call him out on his bullshit, from attitude issues to thinking he's worth more than what he is, to the famous night after Fernando Mendoza was named the Heisman, when he appeared at a club with a bunch of hot blonde girls with a light up sign that says "fuck Indiana" on it, drinking and partying. And it just pains me to see Baltimore make that kind of mistake. Why are you? This guy has got to prove his worth. You sign him without him even trying out and practicing at first? Are you kidding me? This guy's history. He may be a good player, but if he's that self-destructive and is going to be a cancer to your team, I wouldn't even touch him with a 20-foot pole. I would let him sit, because he's an immature little prick who's gonna put his own career down the tube with the way he's acting.
Not only that, but God forbid if your franchise quarterback Lamar Jackson gets injured, what the hell are you going to do? Because yeah, you got Huntley there, as your number 2 quarterback, but there's no way that he should be competing for the third string. If his attitude is this bad already, yeah, I wouldn't have signed him in the first place, because if your 2 main quarterbacks go down with injuries, God forbid, you're done. Because like this is bad. Like signing a quarterback that you didn't even try out, like the difference between Baltimore and the Rams is they tried out Ty Simpson. And the Raiders with Mendoza, they obviously had the film on him. They have done tryouts with him and workouts with him and worked with him, and that was their guy. We have seen running backs and receivers, such as names that come off the top of my head, like Jeremiah Love, that went to the Cardinals last couple weeks ago in the draft, and the Tennessee with their draft, and even the Cowboys. I mean, let's give them credit. I mean, getting Caleb Downs, I mean, that right there was a good move, and if they didn't believe in these draft picks, then they wouldn't have signed them. And as far as like trying them out and seeing the film on them and feeling like, hey, they can work with our teams, Baltimore does the complete opposite. They don't watch film on this guy, to my knowledge, and they just, hey, we'll just sign him, whatever. Like, you can't do that. Like this is a recipe for disaster, and he's not good news. If he's going out being immature, and like we talked about behind the scenes, this is Johnny Football 2.0. This is a trend that Baltimore needs to get out of, because if they don't, it's going to be the Cleveland Browns all over again. And how fitting 2 knucklehead quarterbacks in the same division. Because obviously Johnny Manziel did not last in the NFL.
It's stupid, but you know what? Everyone's going to find out the hard way, so leave it to them to be idiots. So
Yep.
We're not going to keep going on this, but some other news. Unfortunately, some sad news. Former Arizona Cardinals player Josh Morrow passed away last week. I don't know much about the statement about Josh Morrow, but he unfortunately passed on at a young age. He was only, I believe, 34, 35 years old.
Mm.
Born same year I was. So definitely send our deepest condolences and prayers to family and friends of Josh Morrow, and all the best for his family, and may he rest comfortably. Titans president of football operations Chad Breaker has announced that he is stepping down. So that's pretty unexpected, especially with the new stadium opening up next year and all this stuff coming up. But it's part of the way things go. Here's some other news for you, and that is that All-Pro safety Justin Simmons of the Denver Broncos has hung up the cleats. He has decided to retire. Let's see. There's a new 3-year extension for Aziz Al-Sharir for the Texans. So he got a big payday. The Vikings' search for a new general manager is currently underway. So it's going to be funny to see what happens there. George Pickens has signed his franchise tag. I don't know. George Pickens, a guy who's bounced back from being what was considered to many people a troublemaker, a guy who had an attitude about himself. Why aren't the Cowboys signing him to a long-term deal? I don't get it. Why are they just playing tiddlywinks with him? Just sign the man, because he's the best player outside of Dak Prescott that you have on your team. Outside of Dak Prescott and freaking CeeDee Lamb, who don't CD ball half the time.
The thing that gets me with the George Pickens situation is last year he put up great stats with the Cowboys. And if he does the same thing this year, Pickens, and rightly so, is going to be asking Jerry Jones to whip out that paycheck book and give him human money, because in his mind, he deserves to be paid. And I don't blame the guy. I mean, as long as his head is screwed on straight, and we know he's a very outspoken figure in the NFL, on the field, off the field. Pickens, if he goes out next year or this upcoming year and puts up great statistics, he's going to be asking for a long-term contract. Here's the problem. You got Dak Prescott with a big contract, and you got CeeDee Lamb with a big-time contract. You can't pay everybody all at once. So somebody is going to have to take a pay cut in order to get Pickens what he wants. Or Pickens is going to have to take less money from like a 3-year deal, less money to stay on the team. But knowing Pickens, he's going to want to get paid. So
yep, exactly.
It's up to Jerry Jones to do what he needs to do for the team.
Yeah, he needs to not be cheap, open up his purse strings, and fucking pay the man. Speaking of changes, 5-time NBA All-Star John Wall has become the president of basketball operations at Howard University. This was reported by Shams Charania, and I guess Ab Schefter's bored because he's tweeting basketball tweets. Nothing for him to talk about. Might as well tweet his buddy Shams. See, this is what happens when your job only is from August to fucking February.
Yep.
But Calais Campbell has signed a 1-year deal with the Ravens to return. It will be his 19th NFL season.
Wow.
Let's see what else I can get into. course, a bunch of rookie center deals. We know about that. The Steelers are declining the fifth-year option for left tackle Broderick Jones. The option would have paid him $19.1 million. Jones, who's coming off neck surgery, is set to be a 2027 free agent. The Packers will have former Steelers and Bears wide receiver Chase Claypool at the rookie minicamp for a tryout. Claypool last played 3 years ago.
Yeah, that's not going to work out, I don't think, in their favor because, as we know, he can be a diva.
Once again, Green Bay having the Bears scraps. Have fun. Ooh, the Cowboys have signed 6 of their 7 draft picks before the rookie minicamp that started a few days ago, including Caleb Downs, who signed his 4-year, fully guaranteed $28.9 million rookie deal. Let's see. DK Metcalf will not face any criminal charges stemming from his altercation with that fan at Ford Field. However, there's still a possibility he could be sued civilly, and that's currently being worked out. I'm telling you right now, DK's next contract, they're going to have somebody, just somebody there so he can hit them.
Yeah.
Kind of like how Lance Archer destroys the Young Lions in New Japan.
Yep.
Everybody dies. Yeah, but if you're a Jets fan, everybody gets intercepted. Oh wait, did I say that?
And the Jets won't have any interceptions probably again.
Oof, rough. Ooh, the Colts will not pick up the fifth-year team option for Anthony Richardson on his rookie contract.
Yep, sounds like to me. He's out the door. I mean, Anthony Richardson, this guy can't even stay healthy on the field. The times he's been given opportunities, he has the athletic skills, to run with the ball. He's got a decent arm, but again, like we talked about on this show before, during the seasons, when he was in training camp and the games he did play, we all appointed the fact that he cannot stay on the field. And that is why the Colts have had quarterback issues over the last couple of years trying to find their quarterback. And that right there just tells me all I need to know. They are willing to keep Daniel Jones, and rightly so, because for the first half last year, he had a pretty good season. And then he was hampered by injuries that kept him out the rest of the year. And that's when they had to go in the emergency mode and get Phillip Rivers off the couch. But Anthony Richardson, even though he was there, they were not willing to go to him because they could not trust him because of the past injuries that he's had over the last couple of years since coming into the NFL.
Let's see. Tyrod Taylor has signed with the Packers.
Hmm.
The Ravens are expected to sign veteran quarterback Skylar Thompson.
Oh boy. That is the scraps from the Miami Dolphins.
Yeah. This is the Green Bay Packers have officially signed Tyrod Taylor and released Desmond Ridder.
Really? That guy is on the block again?
Desmond, I lost my job to a guy whose last name involves opening up oysters. Shuck. Ugh.
Man, Desmond Ridder is a guy that I don't think he's going to find another team that really wants him.
It's sad. It is what it is, man.
Yeah. Just
It
retire,
really
dude. Like you tried.
Save your money and Go be an analyst. Or you could cry about the NFL like every other fucking
Or go to
former
the
athlete that
UFL.
oof.
Go to the
Speaking
UFL.
of the UFL, there was a guy on the defense of, I think it was a Seattle team, or maybe it was something like that, who tackled a guy, number 95. He got up and he strutted, and the strut looked exactly like the Obafemi. And so the team retweeted on their Twitter account. They put up a reel on Facebook or on Instagram, and it says whatever his name is just did the Obafemi strut, and he included the clip of Oba doing a strut on Raw.
That's fantastic.
Here's this. Dante Fowler is signing with the Seahawks on a 1-year deal
Oh, wow.
worth $5 million. Let's see. Anything else? Stephon Diggs was found not guilty on Tuesday of assaulting his private chef in a pay dispute.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, he was found not guilty. Let's see. Anything else? Doesn't look like anything important. So, real quick, before we get into news, before we get into the NBA stuff, some sad news to report in the world of baseball, and that is that a New York legend has passed, and that is John Sterling, the longtime Yankees radio voice for 36 seasons, has passed away at the age of 87 years old. He has called some of the Yankees' most famous games, some of their most important games over the years. He was a broadcaster for the radio. WFAN Sports Radio announced his passing yesterday. And so for all the Yankees fans out there, we definitely send our condolences. And to the family of John Sterling, we definitely send our condolences to him. Another legend gone in the world of sports radio broadcasting.
Man, no matter who you are as a fan when it comes to sports, you have to respect this man's legacy. I mean, he has called some of the most world famous home runs, game winning walk offs, saves in baseball, and that iconic Yankees win, the Yankees win. I'm not even gonna do the call justice because his iconic way of doing that call, Yankees win, that he would sing the words, the Yankees win. Just like iconic. Iconic, iconic, iconic. I mean, it's quite interesting. Before the World Series last year, I decided to go down the nostalgia train and pulled up some of his legendary calls, and I'm like, my God, it just what a career. I mean, just Derek Jeter's 3,000 hit, the Yankees repeating as three-time champions in a row from 98 to 2000, them winning the World Series in 2009. I mean, just he had some of the most legendary calls in Yankees history, and not just Yankees history, but sports history. I mean, his legacy is immortalized and will live on in sports fans' hearts forever. I mean, just iconic, just a legend in this business. I mean, what a career, what a legacy he leaves behind. And yeah, it was a rough day for New York sports fans the last couple of days. But I know the Knicks players and fans, pay tribute to John Sterling on Monday at Madison Square Garden. It was really cool to see everybody rally in that community and basically paying tribute to one of the greatest play-by-play sportscasters in sports history.
Absolutely. And you mentioned the New York Knicks. So why don't we get into the NBA playoffs, shall we? It's been a while past past couple of games since we were last on with you guys. We don't want to go through every game because that would actually take up.
That would take up way too much time.
Yeah, and we want to
But
get into what's going on tonight. We want to get into obviously what we definitely want to get into the more games that have the biggest headlines, and of course the game sevens that we saw this week too. So
and we mentioned and I
let's
mentioned the Knicks too, Knicks as well, to start out this. We might as well get this out of the way.
go
That
for it.
historic ass whipping by the Knicks on Friday in Atlanta. The Hawks had a golden opportunity to go up 3-2, and the Knicks just they beat them. They beat them to the woodshed at Madison Square Garden. And then in Game 6, you would think that Atlanta, with their backs against the wall, the pressure's on them. They're going to come out swinging. They're going to come out the desperate team. You would have thought that the Knicks were down 3-2 the way they were playing on Friday. They were aggressive on offense and especially on defense. And OG Anunoby, my God, he looked like Kobe Bryant out there, Allen Iverson out there, dropping three-pointer after three. He looked like Steph Curry out there dropping those threes. I mean, Anunoby had like 26 points in that game, 29 points. Just unbelievable stuff. I mean, and Jalen Brunson didn't have his best game in that game, but he didn't need to be the best. I mean, Hart was good, and of course, Karl Anthony Towns was good. I mean, and Mikal Bridges had a good game. But man, that Atlanta team, they just looked defeated. I mean, at one point, it was 48-15. And then later on, as the game was progressing, the deficit was as much as 61 points, led by 47 at half. It was unbelievable. I mean, the largest margin of victory in a playoff game. I mean, there were commentators, fans alike, that were just as stunned as we were, that were there in person. People were dumbfounded at that game. They could not believe what they were seeing. I mean, this was no contest, basically from the opening tip. I mean, wide open lanes to the basket, wide open three-point shots. Atlanta was missing layups after layups. I mean, CJ McCollum did not have a good game. I mean, and the whole team around him just crumbled. I mean, it was not a pretty game for Atlanta, but if you're New York, you were glad to get that monkey off your back because they did not want to go back to Madison Square Garden in a Game 7 because you never know what's going to happen in a Game 7. And that's why if you can wrap it up, you can. But man, what a blowout by the Knicks on Friday against Atlanta.
Dude, that was an unbelievable game. 47-point lead at the half, which is the largest deficit in playoff history. They were up by as many as 63 points and still won by over 40.
Yeah.
They just came they took the soul right out of the Atlanta Hawks and just left them for dead. And it was unbelievable. What a performance by that crew over there. Another team that I was super impressed with this weekend in their, final couple games in this first series was Detroit.
Mm-hmm.
I got to tell you, Cade Cunningham, he's an absolute beast. He is going to be one of those players many years to come. We're going to be one of Detroit's best, if he isn't already. The guy is so damn good. And then Tobias Harris.
Mm-hmm. Ex-Philadelphia 76er.
Ex-76er, a guy who's really resurfaced as one of the premier players out there right now. And the whole team is built together really well. And speaking of that, because of what they did, JD Bickerstaff has been signed to an extension.
And talking about that Game 6, Orlando had Detroit on the ropes. After taking game 5 or taking game 4, you're up 3-1. Detroit comes back in their building and beats you. Then in game 6, you had them on the ropes. They were basically beaten. Basically, in the first half, you were up 22. And then you blow the lead. And oh, by the way, Orlando made history their own in game 6. They missed 23 consecutive shots. They went scoreless for 45 real-time minutes.
Yep.
You cannot make this stuff up. This is Houston Rockets 2018 levels of bad. I mean, the Rockets during that game against Golden State in game 7 on their home floor missed 27 consecutive threes. In Orlando in this series against Detroit, you were on the doorstep, the precipice of history, of adding your name alongside the teams that have defeated the number 1 seed, such as the Memphis Grizzlies and the Golden State Warriors of 2007, who were the first team to do so. The Grizzlies in 2011 beating the San Antonio Spurs during that year. You were on the doorstep of putting your name alongside those teams that knocked out a number 1 seed in any conference. But Detroit made their mark on the road, took control of the game, and then in game number 7 on their home floor, by the middle of that second quarter, the game was over. Orlando could not recover. They were turning the basketball over. And mind you, game 5 was great. Game 5 was phenomenal. Game 5 was great. Just the two teams, played a great competitive game, but Detroit squeaked it out. But in game 6 and game 7, it was all Detroit. And I got to give the Pistons a lot of credit. They could have easily folded in a heap and said, you know what, it wasn't our year, boys. But give them credit. They won a great game in game 5 and then took command, grabbed the bull by the horns in game 6 and 7 and absolutely destroyed the hopes, the dreams of the Orlando Magic, and are moving on to round 2 of the Eastern Conference semifinals.
You mentioned another team in the conversation here, and that team is the Houston Rockets, and I want to give them a lot of credit. They were down 3-0. They came back and were playing great ball and had LA a couple times. Unfortunately, LA was able to shut the door on them, and that's a lot of credit to guys like, especially the return of Austin Reeves, who was a big-time plus for the Lakers when they needed him most. Also, other players on that team were just stepping up big time for when Reeves was out. So a lot of credit to them. But of course, LeBron still being LeBron. Him and Bronny having some good moments throughout the series, including that lob up to a basket to Bronny from LeBron, which was kind of cool to see. But man, the Lakers, they only took the foot off the throat for a few to kind of play with their meal, if you would.
But in game 6, they dominated.
Absolutely, and that's why now the Lakers have moved on and the Rockets are home. So
if LeBron can continue to play like this, man, I don't give a damn how old he is. That is going to be a hard man to beat with him playing like this.
Yep, absolutely. Let's see. Let's talk about those Philadelphia 76ers. Just in the series they had, they were able to take out Boston and leave them in the dust. But also the big factor was Jason Tatum. Tatum unfortunately suffering a left knee injury involving some stiffness in that knee, and he couldn't play for game 7. And that was a critical thing to not have Tatum on the floor there to help them, because he was turning up pretty well in his first 1 or 2 games back. But with him off the floor, it was like they were missing a big key part of themselves.
Yeah,
And
because the Celtics in Game 6, like they didn't have it. I mean, Philly dominated them on the road, and then in Game 6, just like they did in Game 5, I mean, Maxey and Big, I mean, and Paul George turning back the clock. I mean, they would not be denied. And in that Game 6, like you mentioned, Tatum goes down with the injury, and Joe Mazzulla did the right thing. You know, I know Tatum didn't want to miss Game 7, but man, you cannot put yourself behind the eight ball because you made it this far to make that comeback with the Achilles injury last year against the Knicks at Madison Square Garden, and to make this effort to come back and play great for the most part and then suffer a setback in Game 6, you got to take all precautions. And he did. But then in Game 7, the thing that really annoyed me about this game, the Celtics, you made this effort to come back in this game not once but twice. And then Philly went up by as much as 17. You make all this effort to come back in the fourth quarter, and you were down by 1. 2.5 minutes or so to go in the game. And all the Celtics kept doing predominantly throughout this game was chucking up threes. Pritchard chucking up a 3. Brick. Brown chucking up a 3. Brick. I mean, they had multiple chances to go to the basket. Draw a foul. Go to the free throw line. Get an easy bucket. No, we're just going to keep standing out here and chucking up threes. And this is the one thing that bothers me about the modern day NBA is a lot of these young athletes, all they want to do is just run up on the 3-point line and just chuck up threes instead of drawing up plays. Back in the NBA 15, 20 years ago and beyond, you would see teams calling a segment of plays. They would segue to the next play. Like the point guard would get the play call from the head coach. He would make the sign. This is what we want to run. And he would run their offense. Now, you're seeing a lot of these players just running up to the 3-point line, trying to chuck up threes. And that is not the kind of game that is going to win you basketball. Not a lot of teams are successful doing that. You might have rare occasions where you're successful doing that, but if you truly want to be successful in basketball, you got to run a team-oriented offensive scheme. And in that Game 7 especially, just chucking up threes left and right, brick by brick. I mean, Jaylen Brown missing shots, not having a great game. Peyton Pritchard missing threes that he normally would hit. Sometimes it just ain't your night. And you cannot make the excuses that Jason Tatum, if he was there, we would have won. You don't know that. I mean, Jason Tatum, you won without him all year long predominantly. You can't use that excuse. You went on this run without him during the regular year. Everybody left this team for dead in the regular season. You can't use that as a bullshit excuse. Give me a break. And then Jaylen Brown goes on social media after the game was over. And by the way, Joel Embiid, I mean, this guy, like Mick Foley says, has that testicular fortitude. I mean, this guy is getting banged up left and right and still plays his ass off on the floor. He's throwing his body around and defending very well and taking his opponents to the basket. Going to the free throw line. Tobias Harris going to the free throw line. Maxey going to the free throw line. Take your opponents to the basket. Because Nick Nurse and company were running circles around the Celtics' asses in the last 3 games. They were running offensive schemes. They were playing team basketball. They weren't just chucking up threes just for the hell of it. They were running proper basketball schemes. And this just goes to show you that it don't make a damn what seed you are. Seeding does not really matter in the NBA anymore. Just as the Denver Nuggets. We're going to get to them here in a second. But the Boston Celtics were a number 2 seed in the Eastern Conference. And they just got beat by a 7th seed on paper. I don't care if Philadelphia is a 7th seed. They are going to give the New York Knicks hell if they get their game plan together for Game 2. I would not, if I'm the Knicks, I'm not looking past Philadelphia. Do not take your foot off the gas. Just because Philly is a number 7 seed, that doesn't mean nothing. Because now we live in a day and age where any team can be beaten. You cannot take any games off, any series of games off, and thinking that, oh, just because we're on our home floor, we can win a game just like that with a snap of a finger. That's not how the league works. That's not how sports works. You have to play cohesive ball. And that is what the Celtics were not doing in this game. They were missing shots, they were missing defensive assignments. It was just bad. And they choked. They absolutely choked. And they deserved to lose this series. I mean, they were playing with their food. And they got burnt. And if you're Philly, you should be rejuvenated. You should be, elated that you just silenced the demons that have haunted you for 44 years. The first time since the Philadelphia 76ers have won a playoff series against the Boston Celtics. And I know Philly fans are happy about that, as they should be. I know the Philly players are happy to silence those demons. And that is why they're moving on to the semifinals against the Knicks.
Yeah, but that game, excuse me. That game is going to take place tomorrow, game 2. Between the Knicks and the Sixers, where the Knicks lead 1-0.
Yep.
But let's talk about this Minnesota Timberwolves, and I believe they took on the Denver Nuggets, correct?
You are correct. And game 5 was a dominant victory by Denver. That was last Tuesday. And then in game 6, Minnesota absolutely dominated Denver when it comes to, again, offensive rebounds, efficient offense, and led by Jaden McDaniels. Jaden McDaniels may have been running his mouth and talking shit, but he backed it up with his words. Because Denver's defense all postseason long against the Timberwolves in this series was nowhere to be found. Nikola Jokic may have had a triple-double in Game 6 and had a great game. But Jamal Murray was a no-show in this series completely. This was not the Jamal Murray of 3 years ago, 2 years ago, that destroyed the Lakers in the playoffs. This was not the same Jamal Murray that was hitting clutch shot after clutch shot, looking like Tony Parker out there when he was with San Antonio all those great years. This was not Jamal Murray nickeling and diming the defense of the Timberwolves with those crisp passes. That wasn't that. He was sloppy. He looked tired. He looked out of sorts. And Anthony Edwards, even though he was out predominantly this entire run against Denver, they still found a will. They found a way to get the job done. I mean, they still got, like I mentioned, Jaden McDaniels. They still got Julius Randle. And how about this guy? TJ Shannon. This guy was an unsung hero. He had a great game in Game 6. I mean, he was hitting clutch threes and he was defending good. I mean, this Minnesota team, again, just like with Philadelphia, Minnesota might be a 6 seed on paper, but don't let those numbers fool you. Minnesota is still a really solid team. And now that they got their Ant-Man back, Anthony Edwards is back, Minnesota could go on a deep run. And, I mean, Rudy Gobert in Game 6 was making these crisp, great passes. Obviously, he was getting to the boards and offensive rebounds and defensive rebounds and blocking shots, having a great game. But Denver, man, I mean, they got to do some serious soul searching. I mean, and I think the Celtics need to do the same thing too. Because honestly, I would be surprised. And I know he's probably still under contract, but Joe Mazzulla, something's got to be done. Something has got to be done. They got to do some serious soul searching and get better people on the offense in the offseason because you can't just do it with Tatum and Brown alone. And same thing goes for Denver. That's why those to me are 1A, 1B because both guys, Murray, Jokic, Tatum, and Brown respectively, have both went to the top of the NBA mountain and have won the championship. But they won it with a complete team, with defense, with great role players, and this Denver team just didn't have it. And I know that Michael Porter Jr. a couple years ago was struggling, but I know they wanted that guy back because having a third option would have been your best bet. Because now Cam Johnson did have a great game 6, but he wasted a great performance because of Jamal Murray. Jamal Murray, again, was a no-show. 2 of 11 from three-point range in that game. 4 of 16 from the field. He was that bad. Predominantly, he was a no-show all series long, and this is why Minnesota is moving on to round 2, and Denver packed their bags and they went home. Because they just didn't have enough pieces on that team to get it done. And Minnesota obviously does.
By the way, a quick update here. The team that we mentioned earlier, Orlando Magic, they have announced that Mosley is out
Yep.
as their head. It was announced earlier today that Mosley has been.
Jamal Mosley is axed. He's done.
Thanks for coming. Oh,
Yep.
and go ahead, Steven. I'm sorry.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
I was going to say the Bulls have finally announced their executive vice president of basketball operations, and that is former Atlanta Hawks executive Bryson Graham.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see what happens with that. Hopefully he can help turn the franchise around. We'll see what happens.
Yep.
Some quick updates here, Steven, also too when it comes to tonight's games. Luka Doncic and Jalen Williams are out for tonight. Both dealing, of course, Luka Doncic still dealing with that grade 2 hamstring strain. And then a hamstring issue going on right now with Jalen Williams.
Now, we know that OKC has had success without J-Dub because of Shea Gilgeous-Alexander and Chet Holmgren and Alex Caruso and company. So I think OKC will have no problems.
Yep. Cavaliers and Pistons are currently playing right now. We'll get back to the other games in a minute. But Cavaliers and Pistons are playing right now. The score right now is 28-39. Pistons over the Cavs.
Now, you mentioned Cleveland. Now, that's the one series that I was very impressed with Toronto, even though they lost. It was a very competitive series, back and forth, back and forth.
I agree.
And RJ Barrett's miracle 3 at the end of Game 6 to send that series to a decisive Game 7, that just put the cherry on top because that Game 5 in Cleveland was great as well. And Game 7, it was close at first, and then Cleveland just took control of the second half, and the Cavaliers ended up taking that series. So even though Toronto may have lost that series in defeat, I was still very impressed with this young, scrappy Raptors team.
Absolutely. And then that Cavaliers series I thought was very, very competitive, like you said. Back and forth between the two teams. That 3 at the end of that Game 6 was incredible. And now we had a decisive Game 7 where Cleveland played a very smart and played a very tough game. We're able to get it done, and now here they are facing the Pistons. So now we have the Pistons and Cavaliers going on right now. Score update, 41-28, Pistons over the Cavs. Then later in pregame right now is Lakers and Thunder, which will be starting at 8:30 Eastern, 7:30 Central. And that series, and of course, that's game one. Tomorrow, and then tomorrow we will have game two of both the Sixers and the Knicks, and Timberwolves and Spurs.
Now, before we get to last night, I do want to talk about the conclusion of the Spurs and Trailblazers series. And again, Wembanyama comes back from concussion protocols, and immediately his presence was felt on the floor in those last couple of games for San Antonio. And just this Spurs team showed their dominance and proved to the basketball world why they're one of the top teams in the league. And they wrapped up that series against Portland. And Portland, even though they lost that series, they were still very competitive. They tried their hardest, and that's all you can ask for. But San Antonio was just way too much.
Because remember, we weren't sure how long Webby was going to be after smacking his head off the off of that wood. But hey, credit to him for being tough. Credit to the staff for making sure that he's 100% healthy. He came back with a vengeance, and look where we are now. So we'll be keeping an eye on these scores. We'll be keeping an eye on anything developing between now and the end of the show. If we have, we'll give you one final score update before we go off the air tonight.
Now, as far as last night is concerned, I mean, what more can I say about the Knicks? I mean, they absolutely dominated Philadelphia. Jalen Brunson had 27 points at the end of the half and finished up with 35. Had a great game. Karl Anthony Towns had another great game. He is stepping up big time for the Knicks, and they need for him to do that, because if the Knicks are going to go on to the Eastern Conference Finals, they're going to have to step it up defensively, and they're going to have to guard Maxey. They're going to have to guard Paul George. They're going to have to guard Joel Embiid. I mean, you can't take your foot off the gas if you're New York, because now that your arch rivals, the Celtics, are out of the picture, no excuses. Zero. No excuses at all. And knowing Philadelphia tomorrow, they're going to have a game plan. They're going to be ready to go into Madison Square Garden for game two. And I think they're going to have a more competitive game because they were just coming off that grueling series against the Celtics.
Yep, absolutely, man.
And last night, wrapping up this portion of the week, San Antonio, Minnesota was rather interesting because this game was very close throughout, and then Minnesota went up big, and then San Antonio had to rally to come back in the game, and Wembanyama was chasing history in this game, and he got it eventually off of a slam dunk, becoming the 7th Spur to have a triple-double. The first since Tim Duncan on May 29, 2008. Wembanyama last night had 11 points. I think he had about 12, 13 rebounds and like 12 blocks. Like, insane. 12 blocks. And Castle had a good game before fouling out. De'Aaron Fox only had 10. He's going to have to play better. I mean, Julius Randle had a great game last night. Jaden McDaniels had a great game. Ant-Man had 18. He had a pretty solid game. But yeah, that game last night was crazy. I mean, Penny almost hit that three. It was on the line, and then he just hit the side of the rim. I'm like, oh, they were that close to stealing game three, but the Timberwolves take away home court advantage, and they survive the Spurs' late rally in the fourth quarter. And that series, I will be shocked if it does not go 6 or 7 games. This Detroit-Cleveland series, I think, could go 6, 7 games. I would not be surprised if the Thunder beat the Lakers in 5, just because I don't think the Lakers have enough power to beat this Thunder team. I mean, this Thunder team is very hard to defend. They're hard to score on. They're considered one of the greatest defensive teams in the modern NBA. Rightly so, they should be considered that. So, I mean, some of these series I think are good. I think the Knicks and Sixers. I think that's going at least 6, 7 games. So we'll see what happens.
Yes, sir. Let's go ahead and move off from the world of the NBA. Let's get into Major League Baseball for a brief second. And mainly, I just want to get into the standings right now. And it's pretty interesting right now because you got the right now you get the AL. Let's take a look at the if we're gonna do this, I don't want to take a look at division. I'd rather take a look at league. Here we go. In the American League right now, the Yankees are currently leading the American League by a game and a half over the Tampa Bay Rays with a record of 24-11. Then you've got Cleveland, you've got the Athletics, Detroit, the White Sox, and then so on and so on. Bottom of the list is the Angels, 13-21.
Man,
And obviously, this is early in the season. This is 163 games, so yeah, it's a long way to go. But in the National League right now, it's a close one between two teams, and that is the Atlanta Braves, who are 25-11 right now, and the Chicago Cubs, who are 23-12, including a big walk-off win last night in a big series, which was amazing. Right now they have a home win percentage right now, or home win right now. They are 15-5 at home, but they're 8-7 away. So they got to improve their away record, but their home record is pretty stellar. So I think you've got the Dodgers behind them, the Cardinals behind the Dodgers, Padres, and so on and so on. And then at the bottom of the list, two teams, Colorado Rockies, and of course, the Mets.
the Mets, the Mets, the Mets. As a matter of fact, the cursed Mets.
We have three words for you. You are cursed. Thank you, Danhausen.
Talking
Just
about baseball, that Matt Olson home run last week, the game run home walk off home run for him. That was really cool. I mean, uh, walked up to the plate and just crushed it to give Atlanta the win last week. That was very, very, very cool.
Yeah.
Last week for Atlanta.
Right now, Shohei Ohtani is gonna face the Astros tonight, but he's not gonna hit again. I think they said that this season it would be regulating his pitch and his time on the mound and his time in the batter's box. I think they were gonna manage it a little bit better last year, where he pitched and hit a ton of games. I think they're gonna try and scale him down to how many he's gonna be able to do. Let's see. The Yankees have provided updates on two people that are currently sitting out an injury: Carlos Rodon and Garrett Cole. Garrett Cole is making a minor league rehab start on Tuesday after recovering from Tommy John surgery, which he had last year. And then Carlos Rodon is coming back, is the final checkpoint in his recovery from a left elbow surgery performed in October. He's scheduled to make a minor league rehab start for AAA Scranton Wilkes-Barre on Tuesday at Worcester. So there's that for you. And then also, big news for the Houston Astros: Carlos Correa has been scratched from the lineup an hour prior to today's game against the Dodgers with a left ankle issue. There is no immediate word on injury, but he suffered the injury during batting practice earlier today. Let's see. Anything else that's should be noted. Nope, not here. Trying to think. There wasn't too much MMA news this week outside of the next UFC pay-per-view coming up, which is going to be this weekend, Saturday, May 9th. And a fight card is going to be packed. You got the King Bobby Green taking on Jeremy Little Heathen Stevens in a lightweight bout. Sean Brady taking on Hakeem Buckley. Alexander Volkov taking on Waldo Cortez Acosta. Joshua Van in a flyweight bout, taking on Tatsuro Taira, and in the main event, Kazmat Kamaev taking on Sean Strickland. Pretty nice packed card for UFC 328. And by the way, those two final matchups, Joshua Van and Tatsuro Taira, that match is going to be for the UFC Flyweight Championship. And Kamaev and Strickland is going to be for the Middleweight Championship. So we got two title fights. Also on here is going to be the legend himself, Jim Miller, is back on a UFC fight.
I haven't heard that
card.
name in a minute. Holy smokes.
He's going to take on Jared Gordon on the preliminary card on CBS and Paramount Plus. So just remember, you don't have to worry about paying those $80 price tags anymore if you have Paramount Plus for even the smallest, the cheapest subscription at $7.99 a month. You can watch all the UFC fights for free.
Yep.
So definitely check it out if you got the opportunity. Weekend, of course, this weekend is filled with a lot of stuff coming up. Obviously, we just had a big weekend this past weekend with our friends at the Tenacious Corner who were out at GCW one night only at the ECW Arena in Philadelphia. Saw the main event, which was a bloody main event between the King himself, Nick fucking Gage, taking on the deathmatch berserker Bear Bronson.
What a match.
Yes, I agree. Dude, the audience, the crowd, the ambiance when Nick came out, unreal. I'm lucky enough to have felt that in person, and it is a volt of electricity that just runs through your body when you hear Funabelto's play, and he jumps into the crowd and just starts fighting his way to the front. With his gang behind him, and it is just an absolute unreal atmosphere.
I mean, our very own John said it best. It was fucking loud in that building when Metallica's For Whom the Bell Tolls hit and his entrance. It was that loud and very cool moment for John that night, being in the crowd. And I know Deb was there and Seth was there and Andre was there and Elder was there. Just, it was so cool. Nick Gage and John being right there, and Nick goes, "Here I come, motherfucker." And then John literally braces himself, and Nick Gage runs up and mobs John, and they're just having a moment. Like, it was just so cool, for him to be in that moment and to be around those rowdy, rambunctious, hardcore wrestling fans at the ECW arena. Just to witness that, it was amazing. And just what a moment, what a night, what a great card by GCW. I mean, just to be in that building, I mean, you could feel the electricity in that building. And the psychology that Bronson and Gage did during that match was unbelievable. Like, they didn't go straight into the violence. They just told a story around the violence. And Bear Bronson was happy to be in that ring with one of his idols in pro wrestling.
Yep. And just want to throw out some shout outs to other matches on the matches on the card that we got to see. And one of the big ones for me was obviously I love the 6 I love the 6-person DLC death match for the Ultraviolet title. Tremont, Little Sicko, Spider Nate Webb, who came out to a thunderous rendition by the fans of Teenage Dirtbag by Wheatus, which of course has been, Nate Webb's theme song for 25 years. So, also got to throw a shout out to Tony Deppen, who made his return after possibly thinking about hanging up the boots. Tony Deppen, in a surprise match, took on Bear Bronson's significant other, the Nomi, Gabby Forza.
Dude, and speaking of her, how cool for her, to be in that building too. I mean, to watch Nick Gage and Bear Bronson in that ring. I mean,
there's a lot of young stars who never gotten to appear in there. Little Sicko, Nino Extremo, who is a new guy there that was I didn't see much of him before. Just so many people getting their first experiences with inside that building. An awesome match between Vengador and Gringo Loco as well, showcasing Lucha Libre at its finest. And then there were so many different bouts. You had Manders and a squash on Christian Pierre. You had Atticus Cobra and Marcus Mathers in a bloodbath.
Marcus Mathers was bleeding like a stuffed pig in this match. Like, it was, man, what a crazy match.
And, the night didn't come without surprises, because we had an 8-man tag. And it was the OGs, which featured Ruckus. It featured Greg Excellent. It featured several other older talent on the roster. Spider Nate Webb take it on the newbie team, or the new blood, kind of, in a way, which was, try to think of some of the players on that team, and it was just a battle. But then, of course, Kerry Morton and Griffin McCoy decided to enter the fray and decided to run their mouths. And they got two big surprises. One being the legend, one of the big founders of Combat Zone Wrestling, John Danzig. And the other being the notorious 187, the freaking Independent Wrestling Hall of Famer, LAX member, Homicide.
Yep.
Showed up. But they were also there for one other reason, and that was to surprise Ruckus with an induction into the 2300 arena, ECW Arena Hardcore Hall of Fame.
Very cool.
And it was cool for him because this is a guy who, he never really did the deathmatch stuff. He never really did that. His style was so radically different than everybody's. Everybody was throwing each other through barbed wire and doors. This man was flying over the barbed wire to the floor with flips. This guy was, doing crazy shit that nobody else would ever think of doing in a deathmatch scenario. And he wasn't getting busted up all the time, but the man, through his athleticism, was just as good as going through a plate of glass or going through a door wrapped in barbed wire. And he proved to be one of the indie wrestling's best kept secrets over the years. And the guy's near 300 pounds, and the guy could still flip with some of the best wrestlers on the planet. And, as we learn, he suffers from anxiety, and he's lucky enough to have his partner Rob by him, who helps him get through every single night so that he doesn't, the anxiety doesn't cripple him. And, it's a big thing. And congratulations are in order to Ruckus. Well-deserved. Indie Wrestling Hall of Famer in our eyes, and now a member of the world-famous Hardcore Hall of Fame. Same Hall of Fame as the King Nick Gage, and many others, including Sabu, Dreamer, Sandman, Raven, all the ECW superstars. So definitely Paul Heyman, Todd Gordon. Congratulations to Ruckus. And before we wrap up tonight's show, just want to plug real quick a few things. Number one, that this weekend is, of course, Backlash, which is going to be very, very good. Obviously, Jacob Fatu, Roman Reigns, World Heavyweight title match. Asuka, Io, which has become very personal. I could keep going on and on to surprise a tag team partner from Danhausen, whoever he's gonna team with, taking on Kate Wilson and The Miz. John Cena will be there in attendance to announce something. Of course, we kind of got an idea of what we think it is, but we'll leave it at that. But a pretty stacked card this weekend. Oh yeah, we can't forget about Seth Rollins versus Braun Breaker as well.
Yep.
So it's gonna be a packed show. So we're definitely excited for it. Backlash I believe it's this coming weekend, and this Saturday on pay-per-view. So definitely we're on ESPN or Netflix. We'll be checking it out. Also next week I'll be giving a nice little report on something non-sports related, because this Thursday in our theaters nationwide is the release of the brand new Iron Maiden documentary, Burning Ambition. And this is going to be cool because this documents Iron Maiden's return to the stage after the situations with Bruce and Adrian leaving the band, bringing in Blaze Bayley for Virtual XI and the X Factor, and the struggles they had until Bruce and Adrian came back for Brave New World, and then their rise back to the top of the metal world. And so I cannot wait to see that. The passion of the fans, the passion of Maiden wanting to go back out there and do their thing, despite being on the edge of possible irrelevancy, and proving that they could survive with the best. So definitely excited for that. It's a one-night only engagement, people. So if you got a chance, go find a movie theater near you, get yourself a ticket, grab a bag of popcorn, and enjoy some Iron fucking Maiden in a doc.
Yeah, but
And
it's also cool because you're going to be seeing the new Mortal Kombat movie.
Yes, and I'm excited for that. I played Mortal Kombat as a kid. I'm a fan of Raiden. I'm a fan of Scorpion. I'm a fan of Sub-Zero, Johnny Cage, Cassie, everybody. But I just want to go into a movie theater, walk past people, and yell, "Get over here!"
I know, right?
And see what people think. Just look at a random person walking down the tunnel of the movie theater and be like, "Get over here!"
Yep.
And see how many times I could do that before I get thrown out by the cops. No, just kidding.
How you know?
What?
How you know?
What?
How you know?
What?
I said, how you know?
Well, I said, what?
Whatever.
Okay, let's stop before we lose our one viewer. And that one viewer is probably either Kevin or Joey. Oh, good Lord. We love our show, though.
Yeah.
We love doing this, guys. And I just want to say this from the bottom of my heart, man. We love doing the show. We do. Whether we have 10, 100 viewers or one. We love doing it because we like talking to each other. We like talking sports. We like having fun. We like, and like I say all the time, when we trash a team, for not being a great team, it's all in jest. It's all in jest, whether it's the Cowboys, whether it's the Jets, whether it's, the Pelicans or Duke or whatever it is, we were a jest about it, a lot
but
of us.
But the Ravens, they're just flat out dumb for not signing a quarterback that didn't even try out. Like that's your own fault.
Well, yeah, and the Jets did not get a single interception last year, but we won't talk about that. But to end the show real quick, also too, we might propose a few ideas of some theme shows to help take up some of this time. We'll talk about that maybe a little bit after the show is over, but we just want to say thank you to everybody, of course. Real quick before I hand it over to Steven to give his thoughts. Reminder to anybody who's in the Rosemont, Chicago area and who loves cosplay and pro wrestling, May 19th. Yes, I said May 19th. And no, Festus in a Kane costume is not going to come and choke slam me. May 19th, we are doing our annual Too Sweet Cosplay Day photo shoot. It is going to be at 1 p.m. I'll post all the information of where we're going to be in the building, because it's going to take over both the Hyatt Regency O'Hare Chicago, and is going to take over the part of the Donald E. Stevens Convention Center. That's how big Anime Central is. So we're going to get all the information out. But if you need tickets and passes to get out there, go to animecentral.com, get your passes right now, and join us. We're going to be out there having a great time, posing, maybe trying out, posing with a move or something. I will package pile drive somebody, maybe. We'll see what happens. But it's going to be a fun time. So please get out there if you can. Come see us. But I think that's it for me. Steve, you have anything else you want to roll with before we kick it on out?
Oh, I'm so excited for this weekend because I got a couple of shows I'm attending
yes,
this
you do,
weekend in Myrtle Beach. Up there at the House of Blues, Seven Dust is doing their one tour, and Black Label Society is going to be kicking off their second leg of their tour, and that's going to be a lot of fun. And yeah, greatly looking forward to that. It's going to be a lot of fun this weekend, and yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun up there. And both of those shows are basically sold out. It's going to be a lot of fun, and looking forward to those two shows, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So yeah, looking forward to doing that this weekend as well.
Absolutely, my friend. So you have anything else you want to discuss before we clock out?
I think I am done for the night.
All right, Steven, you know the drill. Close it out, my friend.
Yes, I do. What a great show! I got a lot of stuff in NFL and NBA playoffs. Predominantly took up the whole discussion, and we sprinkled in a little wrestling at the end, so that was fun. So yeah, thank you to those for tuning in live and those that tune in on demand. Thank you very much as well, and we are looking forward to being back on next week as we continue our NBA playoffs discussion as the second round rolls on, and hopefully these series will be ultra competitive. And as long as these series continue to be good, and we'll have a lot of stuff to talk about. And we also look forward to be doing these fun-driven topic shows throughout the spring and summer times. And looking forward to doing that as well. And you can follow us on Twitter or X at Owen_Sports Show, Facebook.com/Nation Sports Show, where we are live on most Tuesday nights at 7 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, 6 o'clock Central, 4 p.m. Pacific. YouTube.com/Nation Sports Show. Be sure to like, share, subscribe to all your family and your friends that love the world of sports. And follow the Nation's Corner on Twitter at Nation's Corner. Everywhere else on the YouTube, the Instagram, and the YouTube and the Facebook pages. It's all at the Nation's Corner. And I'm pretty sure the guys and the gal are going to have a lot to talk about from GCW this past weekend. And yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. A lot of fun this weekend. Looking forward to that. And yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. Looking forward to be back on next week as we continue our playoff discussion. And I'm pretty sure we're going to get into our little concert and theater reviews that we're going to be enjoying this upcoming weekend. And yeah, thanking everybody tuning in live tonight and tuning in on demand. And with that being said, another great show. Ezra, wrap us up, my friend.
Sure thing, man. Thank you, everybody, for joining us as always. We deeply appreciate it. We will be back, of course, next Tuesday with more sports talk and everything in between. Definitely more NBA playoffs talk as we creep down further and further down to the semifinals and the finals. We'll be getting to that as soon as we will get to that next week. We're going to get into more MLB talk. Hopefully we'll have more of the guys on next week as well. And as we get closer to the summertime, hopefully we'll be seeing the return of our boy, Hijacker Mike. By the way, you can follow him at Smoke in the Bay, Smoke NTHABAY, for all your cigar needs. If you're a cigar fan, aficionado, or if you're looking for some advice on some good cigars and flavors and textures, look no further than Hijacker Mike, who he's got you covered. Smoke in the Bay. Check it out. Hopefully we'll have him back soon when the NFL starts up in August, and maybe even sooner. Maybe we'll find out. But with all that being said, for our boys who are unfortunately not here tonight, Kevin Rory and Joey Thornton, which, by the way, happy birthday to Kevin Rory. His birthday was, I believe, the day before yesterday. Happy birthday to K-Rod. We love you, brother. Thank you so much for everything you do for the show, your laughter and everything. And we hope to see you soon back on the show as well. So for those guys, for Steven, For everybody out there in the sports show nation, I am Mr. Vickery, and we will see you all next week with another great edition of our Nation Sports Show. Take care, everybody. Have a great week, and we will see you all next Tuesday, same time, same YouTube channel. Peace out, everybody.
Turn me up. Turn me up. Turn me up. Turn me up.
Thanks for watching this week's featured presentation of our Nation Sports Show.